We go from the great green jacket to the ugliest red plaid jacket. That's right. Fairway to Heaven, talking the RBC Heritage and recapping the Masters live in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
There we go. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Fairway to Heaven right here on the STT Sports Network. I don't know what I'm doing today. Let's stop for a second. Welcome to Fairway to Heaven on the STT Sports Network. We are live, YouTube and Twitter. You know the drill. Wherever you're watching, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. These buttons are very easy to do, and it's free to do. We are right now sitting a mere 5 subscribers away from 500. So please hit those buttons for me. I would greatly appreciate it. So with these boys, guys, we are back live after a 5-hour plus live episode on Sunday where we watched the Masters, where we watched Rory McIlroy complete the career Grand Slam. We have got a lot of RBC Heritage talk to do, but I want to spend the first 5-10 minutes of today's show just kind of recapping final thoughts from everybody. I'm Phil Stiefel. We got Jason Sullivan right there. Down below, we got Stevie Fuentes, as we're going to call him now. So, real quick, before we get into this week's event, Jason, we'll start with you. What were some of your final thoughts now that you've had about 48 hours to digest Rory McIlroy finally winning the green jacket? What are some of your final thoughts on it?
Just so happy for Rory still. I think that's like the overwhelming thing. I mean, just like you just saw the weight get lifted off his shoulder, so that was so cool. My other takeaway was kind of in the other way is Bryson just choking on Sunday. Like he looked off the entire day, and like he came with so much momentum after Saturday's round. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be exciting, and he just completely fell away. I mean, obviously we got Rose that played really well, Aberg played really well, but like it was kind of disappointing a little bit that Bryson wasn't better on Sunday.
Real quick before I go to you, Steven, do you think? I mean, obviously, I'm sure Jason, you heard Bryson's interviewed about how Rory wouldn't talk to him. Do you think like that Bryson? And you can comment on that comment too if you want. But Bryson's all about the energy, all about the show, all about growing the game of golf, realistically, if you want to think about it. He's doing so many other things that maybe some of the distractions took away from him on Sunday.
You could say that maybe. I thought the comments were a bit ridiculous and petty, to be honest with you. I feel like you got a guy that's chasing his first green jacket ever after, 11 years of trying to get the Grand Slam. Like, it's in 17 years playing it overall. Like, that's tough. And you know, it was obviously like it was a roller coaster. It started bad. He played really well for a second, and then he finished really bad too. Like this dude is like had the weight of the world on his shoulders. So I don't know. I can't imagine that there's a ton of talk back and forth unless the guys are friends. But I can't imagine like me playing for a green jacket that I've been trying to get for 17 years, and you being like, oh, he didn't talk to me. Like that's. Yeah. It's kind of.
You've seen JT and Jordan Spieth play together plenty of times.
Yeah.
And their interactions on a Thursday versus their interactions on a Saturday or Sunday are totally different.
Yeah.
So I think Bryson was a little off on that comment. Well, he didn't talk to me at all. That was kind of a little whatever. But I think Bryson gets a little distracted on the golf course sometimes. And I think he thrives on interaction. He thrives on the crowd. He thrives on all that stuff. And maybe all the extracurricular activities, kind of affected him a little bit. Steven, what are your final thoughts on Rory's win?
Just to add on to Jason, with how good you feel for him too. You could see like instantly, we were talking about it at the end of the show on Sunday of what type of reaction do we think Rory's going to give? And I think he gave the proper reaction of somebody who's been waiting this long to complete something so rare in this sport. And I think it's just going to unleash him, because what does he have to go win now? An Olympic gold. And he's got, it's not like he can do that every single year. So he's already gone out and won now, 3 times this year? It's kind of crazy that he had this week scheduled off already, win or lose, I guess. But who knows what he can go do. I said it at the end of Sunday. He completed the career Grand Slam. What if he goes on to do a season Grand Slam, right?
With the players too. He won the players too. So it would be
exactly. Exactly.
So here's the question then. What Stephen, to follow up on that, everybody's asking, does this take the lid off? Does Rory go on a run? He's at his age, he's still going to be competitive at the top of his game, barring an injury for the next 5-10 years. He's never had a JT drought or a Spieth or Fowler drought. He's always one of the best players in the world. Does he go on and win 3-4 more majors? Or does the pressure not being there, maybe, I doubt it, but maybe it doesn't. It takes a little bit of the competitive edge off of him, Stephen?
I don't think so. Not at all. Because you look at how he had to win this. Yeah, it was a lot of his own doing. It's not like the lead, like guys were really storming up to take it from him. They just barely got there, but he had a lot of adversity of his own that he had to come through. That what do we know him to do? In his head, and what he did on 15 on Saturday and Sunday, he's going to be able to take that and know, like, hey, you know what? I've messed up in the past, and I can go back out and win. And I think maybe if the live guys played 4 rounds, because Bryson was great for 3 of them. He was like, one of the first few to, or was he the first ever to shoot 60s in the first 3 rounds, I believe, at the Masters. Sure. And then look what he did on Sunday. So, and I think if the roles were reversed, Bryson would not have cared if Rory talked to him on Sunday, right? So I think it was good showmanship, though. It made for a nice little even rivalry, because on the course he didn't really step up to the plate there.
I think Bryson has figured out how to play the system too. Like you saw him do it with the Brooks thing a few years ago, and then now everybody likes him so much he plays up to the crowd, like when he used to be kind of hated. I feel like he knows he's playing the game. I feel like it's a little bit obvious, but yeah, it'll be interesting.
No, absolutely. So here, Jason, you can answer it. What do you think is next for Rory? Does Rory go on one of these extraordinary runs, or is it just still the same course for Rory here?
It's funny how good this year sets up for him. Going to Quail Hollow, like you could easily.
I picked up on it. I was going to comment, Joseph. I'm glad you did for me and all. There was a straight bullet towards live there. Absolutely.
No, it's funny how well this year sets up for him. He always plays well at the Open. You know that's going to happen going back to the homeland, and in going to Quail Hollow this year. It's like it's setting up pretty damn good. The way he's been playing the whole season. Obviously he won the green jacket, but like the way he's been playing, he's by far the best player in the world right now.
So here I'll say this: over under 0.5 majors won over the next 4 majors for Rory McIlroy. Over for both of you guys? Okay.
Yep.
Over.
All right. That's already he's even odd-wise for the PGA Championship with Scottie Scheffler. They both have, well, as of Monday morning, I don't know if it's changed since Monday morning, they're both plus 550 to win the PGA Championship. So they're already neck and neck.
How is Rory not higher than Scottie at this point? Or lower than Scottie, I should say.
Yeah, I don't know. Because Scottie's still in. Just so I don't know if you saw this. Somebody posted the official World Golf rankings. Scottie still gained points in the World Golf rankings over the last couple of weeks. He's got a 4-point bigger lead right now than he did before the Masters, which is insane to think about. Joseph saying maybe if Bryson focused more on his game and practice than his YouTube channel, he maybe. Yeah, I don't think we're throwing darts and bullets at Liv and these guys. I don't think the YouTube channel distracts him from practicing and preparing. Maybe in the event itself, maybe he should have focused more than trying to talk to Rory and whatnot. And I think there's a lot of negative feedback going towards Liv. Obviously Brooks Koepka didn't perform well, missing the cut, but John Rahm still did okay. Obviously, Neiman, Rahm, Patrick Reed finished. Patrick Reed was the 18th hole away from being in the final pairing of the playoff as well. I think Liv showed that PGA Tour needs Liv guys to be at these events.
Well, and Bryson almost won the PGA last year. He won the U.S. Open. So, obviously.
Yeah. I think the straight bullets – I would say the only thing I think that we really truly learned about the live guys this week that maybe Brooks Koepka is the one we need to be concerned the most about. That's not quite who he used to be, because Brooks, since he won the PGA in 23, hasn't finished in the top 40 of a major, top 35 of a major since then. So what did you say, Steven, too?
What about Cam Smith?
Cam Smith, too. Yeah, Cam Smith is right there, too. Yeah, with Brooks. They're just not the same guys. But the other guys still are contention. The one, I would say Brooks, Cam Smith, and Neiman. Because Neiman has gotten all this hype since day one, even before he left Live. What has he ever done in a major?
He's never finished in the top 15 in a major.
Never. And he gets all this love and hype
17?
Every single year.
Yeah,
where does this place Rory all-time best international player ever?
Whew.
I don't know about best. I mean, there's some amazing international players of all time.
He's up there.
He's up there for sure. Maybe most talented of all time. But, I mean, the reach of some of the guys from the 70s and 80s and stuff like that, the Lee Trevinos of the world, not Lee Trevino, Gary Players of the world and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's quite there yet, but he's definitely a top 10 golfer of all time.
You're talking about a guy that's going to finish with
10. Yeah.
5, 6, 7 majors, 40 wins probably in his career. Like that. I mean, he's in a really ridiculously good career.
Absolutely. Well, let's wrap. Let's put a nice little neat bow. Thank you to everybody that tuned in on Sunday for the Masters watch party. We might be doing that again in the next major when it comes around, because I know Jason had a lot of fun. I know Steven had a lot of fun, and I got exhausted from going over 5 hours, but I had a lot of fun with that.
5 hours. 5 hours.
5+ hours. We've reached over 6,000 people that tuned in for just, even if it's just for a few minutes and stuff like that. But guys, please hit that like button, that share button, that all those buttons. K1 had a lot of fun hanging out the entire time with us as well, watching shot for shot. I think K1 was more entertained by my Ludwig Oberg reaction on every missed putt more than anything else. But let's move. Let's turn the page. We got the next signature event of the season. We're in Hilton Head, South Carolina, a short little trip from Augusta, Georgia, RBC Heritage, Harbortown Golf Links. And I know I said at the cold open, you go from the green jacket to the ugly red plaid jacket. I was watching Scottie Scheffler talk as the defending champion, and wearing that. Like, how do you go from putting on a green jacket to then going to the next event and having to put your winner's jacket on and it's red plaid? Steven, why do you like the red plaid?
Just reminds me kind of like of in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will Smith. You know how you flip the jacket inside out? It just kind of reminds me of, like, it's something different. You know what I mean?
I never thought that, but now I kind of like it.
You know, it's something different, and it cracks me up that I think it's more humorous than anything that they go from such a symbolic, iconic jacket to, like you say, just a plaid kind of, kitchen table jacket.
All right, so the first question, before we even get into the course itself this week, is what do you do? I hate Kelly Green, and I hate the plaid jacket. Everybody's on board here with this one. What you do with the guys that me and Jason were talking before Steven joined the back studio there about how you handle the golfers after the Masters. And I know it's tricky because Scottie won back-to-back. He won the Masters, and then he won this event last year. But Scottie was otherworldly last year. Scottie was on a different planet, stratosphere. He was playing at a Tiger, Jack Nicklaus level last year. So, Steven, we'll start with you on this one. How are you going to evaluate the golfers that played last week at the Masters, but also, the ones that contended versus the ones that weren't in contention?
Masters, it's kind of like how even DraftKings looks at it different, because just look at the pricing came out, before, weeks before. So for me, it's I am going to take into consideration if like Henley, right? How bad he performed on Thursday versus Friday, take away how he performed weeks prior, and then moving forward, don't really penalize him with the Masters. But there are some guys who I don't want to overreact with. Some guys, and one of them, he's in my player pool who I'm going to overreact to. But there's other guys like Homa, who I wonder how many people are really going to overreact to a guy like that, and how well he did versus, his really horrible current form.
Sorry about that.
You okay, Phil?
Yeah, I just I bumped the cord. the cord's getting a little loose. I don't know how to fix that. So, if I move my hand like an inch, like it could totally mess all that up. Jason, what are you doing with the guys that played in the Masters last week? How are you evaluating the process with the Masters?
It's tough because there's not really a measurable, like it's all like opinion, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's tough. I think it's tougher for the guys that were in contention. Like obviously I'm not going to play Rose, but I don't think I'd play him anyway. But like it's hard to evaluate like Oberg. Like what do you do with Oberg? Like he was right there, finished in the top 5. Coming back this week, he played well here last year too after finishing a top 5 in the Masters as well. So it's tough because I don't think there's a definite answer either way. But I do agree with Steve, like with the Henley and like Straka too. Except Straka's the same way. Like really only had one bad round. Like didn't play over the weekend. So maybe that could be.
I think you can, and I know there's evidence with Scottie and Oberg from last year. How it doesn't affect them. I think they're outliers. I agree with you guys. Bad performance at the Masters doesn't necessarily get held against them. But on the flip side, good performances might get held against them, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Those probably getting drunk, that mic. No, that's not the mic. The mic does still smell. I haven't washed it yet since the Masters show. So there's a little bit of beer spit that's gotten a little skunky on the sponge thingy here. I mean, I did drink like 7 IPAs over 5 hours, Joseph. So there's a little skunky smell there, but that other issue has been festering for a little while. I'm just waiting to hit one more outright so I can buy new equipment. That's all. So, Jason, what is Harbor Town Golf Links? What kind of a golf course is it? What do we know about it, et cetera?
So it's a lot shorter. We're pretty much going to like the polar opposite golf course of Augusta National. 7,213 yards, par 71, Poa Trivialis again, greens. You're going to see this is a second shot golf course. It's a less than driver course, but it's all about the approach game here. Approach and putting. If you can get a little bit high with the putter and your mid irons are dialed in, you're going to have a good week. Really small greens, second smallest greens on the tour. 54 bunkers. Water's technically in play on every hole. It's another week where there's no rough. There's no missed fairway penalty. As long as you're not smoking it way off the fairways, you're going to be okay. As long, that's why I'm measuring good drives this week. So accuracy doesn't really matter as much. You're just going to need to put yourself in decent position off the tee. Yeah,
it's a positional golf course. It's get it in a good position, hit a great second shot, scramble or putt well, either or, basically, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is it almost like it's a tough event to win? Obviously, it's a tough event. It's a tough spot on the schedule, et cetera, et cetera. But obviously, it's a pretty cut and dry philosophy, right, Stephen, on what you need to do well to succeed here, right?
Hit it on the right side of the fairway so you don't have to deal with anything in your way. And if you're locked in with your irons, you're going to succeed. And I like creativity here. You got guys like Akshay who are incredible. Sahith who have had success here. Sahith success. And a positional course. But I like the water. I love that sort of stuff. And I like links play. I love links courses like this. It gives that like I said, creativity.
Shit, that was fun.
What's funny also about this course is, course history here really does play a like it's the week after the Masters, et cetera. It is an elevated event, but it seems like the same guys every single year are in contention. Obviously, Fitzpatrick considers this a home course. Cantley, Spieth, Scheffler have all had great success regularly here. Why is this such a easy course to repeat the formula on year in and year out, Jason?
I was hoping you'd ask Steve that question because I don't know the answer.
Stephen, why is it so easy to repeat the formula here?
You're going to have a lot of guys who compete in it, post Masters hangover. A lot of these guys don't make the cut, at the Masters. And then with this event, especially being a signature event, it's just, I think you get guys who I don't really think there's a Masters hangover unless you won. I think Justin Rose, is going to be pissed off. And why not come out here and golf on a course like this where you can go out and win, get yourself a jacket, it's plaid. It's got some green in it, I do believe, right?
I think so.
It's ugly. It's an ugly jacket. Anyway, let's take a look at the board. Let's start out. Obviously, you already mentioned it, Steven. Scottie Scheffler I mean, what was he last week? Like 12. Where are my notes here? He was 12-4 last
12,
week.
12.
He's 13-1 this week. Like 2,100 above the second price guy, which is Ludwig Oberg. Obviously, Rory is not in the field this week. Rory and Hideki are the only two eligible PGA players that didn't tee it up. You got Colin Morikawa at 10-9, who kind of disappointed last week. Didn't play bad, just disappointed. Xander, Justin Thomas, and at the bottom of the 10K range, you got Patrick Cantlay, who made it in on the cut on the number, but then really didn't compete this past weekend. Jason, I know you asked me before the show, and I didn't give you an answer because I don't know the answer, what to do with Scottie and what to do at the top of the board.
I think the price is just too much. Like, I mean, you're seeing that price, which, should have been the price all last year when he was going through the streak where he won 4 of 7 events or whatever it was. He should have been that price last year. Now at this point, his game's looked a little bit off. His driver's been a little bit off, which is obviously not going to be a huge thing this week because it's a lesson driver course. So that's the interesting thing. For me, it just comes down to, so if you play Scottie, I think you're left with 7,600 per
7,300. I just checked.
7,300. Okay. So 7,300. I just did for fun to see if you put Xander and Cantlay in the lineup, it's 7,300 for the remaining positions. So you could play both of those guys and still be left with, what you'd be left if you played just Scottie. So
okay.
I think
that makes sense. Then the question comes. Actually, if you play Xander and Cantlay, you've got two. You go from 73,800 to 7,400. So you actually get 200 more left over by playing two guys. And then when you think about ownership percentage and other things like that, I mean, Scottie's going to at this point is projected to be higher owned than all those guys. Colin Morikawa is a smidge higher ownership percentage, but I don't even think it's necessarily the ownership or the lack of form, because I think that the lack of form for Scottie Scheffler is being overblown. He's still playing at an elite level. He's just not playing at last year's level, which nobody plays at that except for once in a rare blue moon.
Somebody had
Scottie could go out and win this event without hesitation.
I don't know. I can't remember. I want to give credit for this quote because it's a good one, but I can't remember who it was. Somebody had a quote. They're like, must be nice to finish top 5 with your F+ game. Like, he really didn't play good at all, but he still finished top 5.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So then, Jason, where are you going to start your lineup? Are you going to start it with Xander and Cantlay then, or
I'm playing a lot of Xander this week for sure. Okay. I'm on the fence about Cantlay just because of ownership. I want to play him, but his game just hasn't been quite there either. And I hate playing guys that are over 10K that I don't think can win. And I don't think he can win this golf tournament, even though he's got a third, and a second in his last three times here. I just feel like I'm more confident in Xander winning. Xander's game, he had one bad round at the Masters, but he looks like he's kind of rounding back into form. So Xander's definitely my favorite in this.
So you're willing to play Xander, who's rounding back into form, who hasn't been perfect, but rounding into form. But you're not willing to play Cantlay, who hasn't been perfect.
I'm not necessarily.
But has finished here top 3 straight years.
What hasn't really been good besides that? That's the thing that worries me a little bit. So I don't know. I haven't made a decision on Cantlay, but I'm definitely playing Xander.
Well, I'm just going to say before we get to you, I'm going to play Steven a lot of Patrick Cantlay this week. He's my top bet. He's my biggest bet that I've made this week. And I'm going to, it's WrestleMania week. So I'm going to, for the wrestling fans out there, last year it was about Cody finishing his story. This year it was about Rory finishing his story. Rory and Cody finished their story. Patrick Cantlay, top 3 straight years, finishes his story by winning the RBC Heritage.
My God,
that is my literally the only reason why Patrick Cantlay is my top guy, because he's gonna finish the story this year.
Man, you should have your own show.
I'll say the well thought out.
I don't have my own show or my own network or anything. Damn, Steven, what are you doing at the top of the board?
I'm only gonna have one lineup that has Scottie, and that's just to have him in there. But everything else, I'm gonna have a lot of Ludwig and Xander. I just think Ludwig, he's back. He's back, and I don't know what he did on the 18th. He looked like he was kind of having a little bit too much.
That triple bogey ain't going to scare you away. That triple bogey that cost him more than $500,000.
We were talking about that on the thing of slipping a few positions, and he did it.
He was smiling though.
Yeah,
he kind of like all you could do when it gets that bad. That's all you could do is laugh.
And he knows that this isn't. He's 2 for 2 in the top 10 in Masters. So it's he's got a bright future ahead of him in majors, and I'm not afraid of that last hole there. I'm using him a lot.
That's fine. Like I said, I'm sticking to Cantley this week. Again, not going as crazy with the amount of lineups. Cantley's the only guy in the 10K and above range I'm playing. Not because Scottie doesn't deserve. We'll get to him in 1 second, Joseph, as we get down the board here.
Can I make one more point about Oberg?
Yeah,
I think that
absolutely.
I can't believe his ownership is so low. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you can't tell me that Oberg's less likely to win than Morikawa. Like, that's just crazy to me. So I might.
All right, so let's look at that 9K range because that's where Victor Hovland is at 9K. He had an up and down Masters. But you also, I think before you even say that, I am shocked in an elevated field that Corey Connors is 9,800. Like, I don't think I've ever heard of Corey Connors that close to 10K, except for maybe at the Canadian Open when no one else goes and plays in it. Like, that's a huge price tag for Corey Connors, in my opinion. And it didn't affect his ownership. He's still north of 16, 17, 18% owned at this point. So, thoughts on Hovland and thoughts on Corey Connors, Jason?
It's funny because I thought the same thing about Connors at first, but he's been awesome. I think my only fear with him is how much golf he's played. He seems like he plays every week or pretty damn near close to every week lately. So I worry about him burning out a little bit. That's my one thing, but he's been so good. I mean, honestly, if he could putt even a little bit, he wins way more golf tournaments, which is, saying a lot. But Hovland's interesting to me because I think that range is a little bit weird. Like the bottom of the 9Ks isn't really super strong. And I look for win equity, and I think Hovland has it. Obviously, he won a few weeks ago. He's looked a little bit better. He looks a little bit off still, but he's looked better than he has. So I think I actually am going to play Hovland this week. Connors is.
I get scared of Hovland on positional golf courses. It's a positional golf course, and that, like, I don't know if he knows how to throttle down, so to speak. I guess that's kind of my thoughts on Victor Hovland. Connors, I would have thought that price tag would have dropped his ownership percentage significantly.
Yeah.
It didn't, so I'm off there. Steven, where are you at in the 9K range?
I love Hovland. I bet him. So yeah, and I think just because of how strong his approach play is, and he is one of those creative guys where you're gonna love him when that creativity and when on these positional courses when he does, boom versus bust. But I could be completely wrong where he missed. Well, everyone's making the cut this week, but he could very well finish dead last because he's getting too creative and getting too aggressive. But I just think where his game's at right now, he's found everything that he did from 2 seasons ago when he won the FedEx Cup. So I just think that based off of his last 2, the Masters, I like him here.
It's been everything too for Hovland. It's been everything except the short game, which is pretty standard for him. This is a super easy course to chip on. So that kind of puts it into perspective as well too, that kind of takes away one of his real faults. So I like him this week too.
I'm going to say that because the name that you guys had mentioned that I love in the 9K range, and I know he's never won on the PGA Tour, and I know this is not a Pete Dye course, but it's a positional course. It's Tommy Fleetwood this week. You're shaking your head no. He's got good course history. He's played really good golf this year. I think Tommy Fleetwood at his price and his ownership, I mean, I did bet Tommy Fleetwood. I did. And I never bet Tommy Fleetwood because there isn't that win equity with Fleetwood there normally. But again, I think Tommy Fleetwood, and Jason, why are you shaking your head no on Tommy Fleetwood?
Because the putter's broken. I think that's the biggest thing. He lost 4.9 strokes with the putter last week and then 5.1 at Valero.
And the week before that, the Valspar, he had gained 5.9. So all you got to do is spike it in the other direction, and you're back to being normal. And these are small greens, so you're not talking about long putts. You're not talking about long distance putting here. You're talking about short putting. And his short game is creativity, his ability to play these kind of positional, quote unquote, Pete Dye courses. He's phenomenal at it, in my opinion. So we're going to be on opposite ends of the spectrum with Tommy Fleetwood on that one, then, for sure. Any of these other names interest you guys in this range here? Obviously, you got Shane Lowry, Russell Henley. We talked about George Spieth's won this event, obviously, a few times. Jason Day had a great Masters. I was actually all about Jason Day on my DFS pool. He had top 20 here last year. Any of those names interest you guys? I mean, I'm kind of intrigued to see how Jason Day follows up the Masters performance this week.
I'm that way with Lowry.
Okay.
Because of one, his comments after Saturday about how feisty he got. and then just how poor he played on Sunday. What he shot a 80 or 81, I think it was. So I think he's going to come out on a course that I like link style courses for these sort of guys. Same reason for Fleetwood. I didn't even think about Fleetwood, that, this is, these guys can use the wins and stuff like that on courses like this to really put them in position, because that's what they're used to over there across the pond. So I like Lowry.
I worry about Shane though. I think this is in the last 9 weeks he's played 8 times.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot for
and I guarantee you Sunday night he was
playing.
out extremely late with Rory.
Going hard with Rory. Yeah.
I'm sure he was partying. I mean, Rory hugged Shane longer than he hugged his family. You know what I mean? Like, there might be something going on there that we don't want to know about.
Yeah.
Well, and Shane and Rory are going to be teammates next week.
Yep.
Right. And Shane doesn't want to withdraw from a signature event, so I'm not worried about that.
That's true.
So he's got to come out and play. There's no cut. You're getting 4 rounds out of him. So I think why not, right?
Okay. All right, let's get into the 8K range. There's a lot of interesting names in this very small 8K range. Some guys that spiked last week, some guys that didn't. But it starts with last week's, runner-up to the Masters and Rory, and that's Justin Rose at the bottom of the 8K range. What do we do, A, with Justin Rose, but B, what can you even expect? Take course history out of it. Take form. You lost in a playoff to Rory McIlroy to win the Masters. He's saying all the right things, but that's got to mentally weigh on your game, doesn't it, Jason?
Especially because I don't think he has too many chances left. I mean, being 44, time's not on your side. So I feel like it does for sure. I feel like it's got to weigh a lot.
Yeah. I was going to bring up Sepp.
I was actually thinking that same exact thing too. Sepp scares me this week. I know that everybody's on him, and I actually bet him, but he scares me this week. He looks like, his game was pretty bad last week, so I worry.
Yeah, he was on my let's check the odds list, but he did not get a bet from me.
He's going to get over 20% owned, I think, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Steven, what do you back to Justin Rose? What do you think about Justin Rose this week? How do you manage that theory of what he's got going on?
I think he's going to come out and he's going to be a mid-tier. So he's going to be middle of the pack. Mm-hmm. I think like I keep saying about Lowry, it's a no cut. It's a signature event. You don't want to withdraw. So you're going to come out here and play. But I think there's going to be that little bit of disappointment. But I don't know why he would be disappointed. I mean, he's still got 2.4 mil, right? I mean, that's a nice little I didn't
these
get
guys
the jacket.
They don't care about the millions. They care about the green jacket, plain and simple.
I know. But man,
that's what they really care about the most. All right, the rest of this range, I think there's some interesting names. Berger is going to be very chalky. He's got great course history here in the past. Sungjae Im's got really good course history. He performed well, surprisingly, at the Masters. Wyndham Clark. You got a lot of names down here. So, Jason, what are you looking at in this range?
Going with my main man, Sungjae Im. I have not played him in a while.
He used to be your Aaron Rye to me.
He did used to be my Aaron Rye.
You were a big Sungjae guy, huh?
Back when he was good. The only thing that worries me with him is his approach game. I mean, he's lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 of the last 10 events he's lost on approach for a guy that used to be a good iron player. Worries me a little bit. I do like the course history though. If I'm not mistaken, his ownership was a lot lower than Sepp's too, which is interesting to me. I actually hate this range, to be honest with you, as a whole.
Yeah, I do too. I don't mind taking the chalk on Daniel Berger just because of the course history. Daniel Berger to me is back to being a competitive golfer. I'm shocked that Justin Rose's ownership is right now projected at 6.8 with a potential to go up to 8.2. Crazy that nobody's playing Justin Rose, but I'm willing to bite the bullet on a 22% Daniel Berger because I think he fits too well here. Steven, go ahead.
Well, how do you guys feel about Mav McNeely? He's got a T4 here in the past. Yeah, he was cut in 2023 when he played here, but I mean, he's one of those guys who kind of has come into form a little bit. He didn't do too bad at the Masters. T30 2 at Valero is a T3. Approach game's pretty strong, only 82. How do you guys feel about him as a pivot move? I hate this 8K range though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm off on him. I don't think his around the green game is good enough. He misses enough fairways to me that he's not a guy that I would mess with this week. I think there's better options in the 7K and below. I think there's better risk reward in the 7 and 6K than Maverick McNeely at this point. I like Mav. He's a guy that I typically play and bet.
I actually don't mind him because of his he's pretty volatile. I mean, we can all agree he could finish easily 50th or he could finish 5th this week. There's not too many guys like him, so I don't mind him in GPPs. But I do tend to agree with Phil. There's 3 guys in the top of the 7s that I like more than him.
Yeah, I mean, you could just name the 3 of the first. You can name any of the top 4 guys from 78 to 79. Denny McCarthy, Aaron Ride, JT Poston, even JJ Spawn without good course history. All 4 of them to me are better risk reward plays in this event than Maverick McNeely.
I'd even throw 2 more, and I'd throw Harmon and Bhatia.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was just saying 78 above the top 2 prices there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're getting into this top 7K. Aaron Rye's a guy. I did not land a bet on Aaron Rye this week. I wanted to. I just didn't.
Is this the first time ever?
Is
first time ever?
Yeah.
First time he's played that you haven't bet him?
Yeah, it's the first time he's played that I didn't.
You saw his wife and you got threatened by her. So.
Yeah, I know. His wife,
His wife
has good form. We'll just say on that golf swing there. That's all we'll say about him. But no, Aaron Rye is a straight hitter. He's not the longest hitter. He hits it straight. He hits his irons really well. He's a consistent player. And I think DFS-wise, I think Aaron Rye is a fantastic play. And, I mean, I don't know if his odds are still there. I just ran out of money. I was broke. I went broke last week. So I had a limited budget this week. And Fanatic Sportsbook had Aaron Rye at 80 to 1. I mean, you could do much worse than that. And if you guys want to sign up for a Fanatic Sportsbook, there's a referral link down in the description down below. Click it, sign up. You'll get some free bets. I'll get some free bets. And I'll take that free bet and put it on Aaron Rye, 80 to 1.
How high do you guys think his ownership gets?
Let me look at where it's at now. He's at 14% now, 15, 16. It depends on what happens with Spawn, Poston, and Denny McCarthy because they're all good plays. Even Keegan Bradley and Brian Harmon. There's literally every name on my board from 76 straight to 79 could be played, which I think that ownership gets spread out because of that range there.
Poston's in his missed the cut year. He does every other year. He gets top 5. So either top 5s or misses the cut.
So then, Steven, where are you looking at the top of the 7K board here?
I like Akshay the most. I just think
Mr. Creativity.
Mr. Creativity, accurate off the tee, that putter. And I think he's one of those guys who has a lot to prove post-Masters from his performance, because I think he knew too how many people were so high on him headed into the Masters.
Yes, Joe, I did appreciate the form of the par 3 contest. Yes, I texted Jason immediately after I saw that one shot on the par 3 and asked about it. Because you Google it, you can't find anything on Google about who his wife is. There's not even a name out there, okay? Just so you know. There's no information.
She was cute.
He literally opened up a booklet and a pamphlet. Yeah. Oh, give me 4B. I'll take one of 4Bs as my wife. Remember the old Christmas albums? You used to get the brochures for Christmas, the Penny's catalog. I want page 37, 4B. That's what I want.
4B.
He did good. Whatever. He got his money's worth.
Yeah, he got his money's worth. All right. So anyway, let's get back to golf talk here.
That's where the 2 gloves comes into play.
Yeah, 2 gloves. Oh man. Anyway, how about Brian Harmon this week, guys?
Yeah. Short
Definitely
course.
Brian Harmon.
Yep.
Short course.
Short course.
Hits the ball straight. Putts the ball really well.
Actually played well at the Masters, considering that's the worst course for him, probably.
Yeah, probably. I like Brian Harmon this week. I do.
And there's obviously there's no cut, but he's one of those guys who, when there is a cut here, he's 5 consecutive cuts made. So he likes this course. So
I want to ask about another player because Kirk Kitayama is not in the field this week. But there's a new model darling that's popping all the time. And I just looking at his profile. He hasn't played in a few weeks. And he did actually have a really good run. I didn't realize how good his run was. But Bud Cauley seems to be popping every week in models. He's going to be close to 20% owed this week, Bud Cauley. Jason, I cannot play Bud Cauley, no matter, even though he had 3 straight top 5s, I just can't do it.
You can't really call him a model darling because his record's been so good. I mean,
he's been popping in the model all year for me.
Yeah, but he's got like 3 straight top sixes.
3 straights. That's why now. Yeah. I didn't even realize that.
He's been really good. I'm kind of with you too. I got burned by it last week when I said you can't play a 20% on Bud Cauley, but at some point this is going to end. I mean, he's always been a cut maker. We know that, but he's never been a top 10 guy like he is right now. So I want to play him this week. He fits the course really well. Like his stats look amazing, but 20% is too much for me.
Yeah. Steven, where else we got? Because I'm looking at another name here that I like a lot. I know we said some negative things about other bad putters that have spiked bad putting wise, but I'm really intrigued about Davis Thompson this week. I know, again, he had a really bad week last week at the Masters putting, but all first timers struggle putting at the Masters. So I'm willing to ignore that and think that it gets better. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Davis Thompson's actually not that bad of a putter. He putted way worse than he normally puts.
Exactly. Steven, what do you think about Davis Thompson this week?
I've just never really been that big a fan of his. Okay. He's just kind of like in that category of like the Sunjays for me, where I enjoy when other people play him and I see the success and I see how well I see how good of a golfer he is. And I agree with Jason. I every time I watch him and he's on TV or ESPN Plus, because I'm big on Thursday and Friday golf. I love watching those first 2 rounds. And I'm constantly seeing him hit, 12 to 15 foot putters. And that's kind of like what you got to do here a little bit, right? And so I won't play him, but I agree for every reason that you guys both like him.
I won't play him, but you guys should.
Yeah. You guys should all play him. That's just not me.
I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to ruin it because once I start playing him, he's going to be one of those guys where he's just going to
push him.
Yep.
Jason, what do you think about the rest of this bottom 7K? And how is Matthew Fitzpatrick such a course darling, but yet projected to get like 6% ownership?
He's just broken. Good course history here. Obviously, I think he won here 2 years ago, but he's not the same golfer anymore. He's missing cuts. I think he finished like 40th in the Masters, so it's a no-go for me. I do like Michael Kim in this range. I think he fits the course really well. Super good on approach, good around the greens. I like him a lot this week. Thigala is interesting to me, and then I'm going to kind of go with I can't believe this guy's priced where he is. I'm going to go with Tony Finau this week. Does well on these less than driver courses, and also just can't believe he's 7,100.
I didn't even notice that Nick Dunlop was in the field there. Let me look at it. He's at a bottom 6K.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's see. Did he play here last year? Let's see here. He did play here last year, and he finished. Well, there was no cut. He finished 69th here last year, so didn't do so well. I mean, he scrambles. And he's a great around the green guy. I can see a Nick Dunlop resurrection this week, if so to speak. Joe, I said it on the live broadcast on Sunday that I tipped the cap to Nick Dunlop to shoot a 90 on Thursday and then followed up. I know he only shot a 71 on Friday, but there was a point where he was 4 or 5 under, then fell apart in the last 2 or 3 holes. You got to give a round of applause to the young kid for being able to make that kind of stay that kind of focused, at the Masters. You know what I mean? When you shoot a 90, that was worse than any 65 set. Bernard Langer, Fred Couples, Angel Cabrera, who spent 2 years in jail. All these guys performed better on Thursday than Nick Dunlop, and he did not lose focus. So I tipped the cap to him massively, guys.
Yeah, agreed.
Can you imagine being in your head, just walking around? All these old guys are out here putting it 2 feet. All the news about Fred Couples, and he's just going back like, I shot a 90. And Fred shot
12 on a par 4.
Give me a few more names, Steven, at the bottom here. This bottom 7, upper 6, bottom 6. Any other names that you like this week?
Why not Sam Burns, right? 7K.
Oof.
If that, a no cut. I'm going to keep saying it. It's like in the back of my head with like a lot of these guys with that has to be in the back of their head too, with what they're going to go out there and try to do. It could bite them in the ass with getting a little bit too aggressive, but that no cut has to play a factor, I feel like, with some of these guys. And why not Sam Burns with that putter? If he can get hot, why not? His ownership has to be low.
Yeah. It's like 2% right now. That's as low as it gets right there. Jason, what else are you looking at down here at the bottom of the board?
2 for me, Glover. Yes. I think I really like Glover. I think obviously it's a no cut event, but he's a cut maker. He's he's not going to finish super high, but I could see like a top 20 coming from Glover this week. I like him. He fits really good in the model. Patrick Rogers is the other one. Comes into this event playing crappy every year and yet has really good course history here. So I'm in on Patrick Rogers.
I like Patrick Rogers a lot. Another course history darling. Didn't play here last year, but the 3 previous years, T19, T3, T18, the last 3 years. Also, same price as Nick Dunlop, but like 100% different in ownership. Because of that course history, he's got close to 10% projections right now, and that's Matt Kuchar. Right now, by the way, Nick Dunlop, I just looked, 0.5% ownership projection. Wow. There's only one golfer in the field that's got worse ownership projection, and that's Matthew Pavon. So Dunlop 0.5% at 6K, or Matt Kuchar at 10% at 6K. That's a huge difference. I'm probably not playing them because, again, I'm only doing a few lineups, but there's some interesting options down there.
You know what's funny is that Dunlop played so bad in that one round, and they shot a 71. Like, pretty good round in his second round.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that how many people even could say they shot a 61 at Augusta? You know what I mean? So, again, tip of the cap to him. Let's check something here real quick.
Oh boy!
After last week, we finally got somebody in the guest DFS win column here. At least picking a winner last week. It's about time somebody outside of us 3 won. After last week, Colin Morikawa and everybody else in the one and dones were we all pretty much stayed the same distance away from each other in the one and dones, correct?
Our guys both tied. We had 2 of us had
T14,
Rom.
right?
Yeah,
okay, you both had Rom. I know one of you had Rom. I didn't know both of you did.
So we all gained 336,000, I believe.
Okay. So who gets to pick the order this week for the DFS contest?
He's finished second, so he's going to pick the order this week.
This is a very fair point.
That's also true.
Very fair point. Very fair point. I'm sorry. Who finished?
Although it's easy to tip your caddy when you make $0. So
that is true too.
Steve's going to pick the order this week.
Okay, Steven, pick the order for our DFS contest.
She beat me by 3 points. If Reed makes that birdie on 18, oh man. All right, let's go Phil first, Jason second, and I'll go third.
You dickhead.
All right. Should I write Stevie because you're a child, or Steven? I'm not sure yet.
Oh, come on.
All right, so I'll start it off since I have to, and I'm just going to go with the guy I like to win this week, and that's Patrick Cantlay. Not that you guys would have taken him, but I'm going to start it off just to know how I'm building my lineup right now.
Patrick Cantlay. I like it.
Yeah, I do truly think Patrick Cantlay finishes his story and wins this event this week.
I'm going to go Bhatia. Akshay.
Oh, you're sniping Steven there with the Akshay. I know he would have taken him.
Yeah, he did. He took that one down. I'm going to go with my 6K guy. I'm going to go with Brian Campbell, the resident.
He's from Hilton Head, right?
Yep.
Wow. Brian Campbell.
First, and then second, I'm going to go with my.
By the way, real quick, before you say that, how about shout out to Brian Campbell for the turnaround story this year and then making the cut at the Masters and finishing just outside the top 25 to get that invite next year. Just outside. Big shout out to Brian Campbell for that.
Agreed.
That Sunday that he had is what really got my eyes on. I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not? And then I'm going to go Ludwig.
Gotcha.
Ludwig.
I'm going to go Harmon. All right, so that puts me on the board. I'm going to go Davis Thompson and Harris English. Grinder course, position course. I do like Harris English this week. Yeah.
He's been playing well, too.
Sandbagging son of a bitch.
I am a sandbagger.
I'm going to go Xander.
Big X. Gotcha.
Dang, he's taking everyone I was going to go with. I'll never pick you. I'll never put you second again. Jeez.
Sniping you.
All right. I'll go Lowry and Hovland.
I like the Hovland pick. Very interesting. I'm going to go I'm gonna go Michael Kim. And then I'm gonna go.
You're just taking 2 picks in a row, even though you don't.
Oh
pick
yeah,
in
yeah.
a row?
Just one pick. Sorry.
You know, is
Dang.
this your first time doing this?
I got excited.
First
was
time
so-
doing this here, you know?
Week after week, he
Talk
won like
about
3
snipe-
weeks in a
like-
row.
Is
so
that
excited.
sniping? Is it called sniping when you just take a pick when it's not your turn?
He's like, maybe they
I
won't
think you lose
notice.
$1,000 in your salary cap for skipping.
I got so jealous of the
skip
way
your
you guys were going back and forth. Figured I
Yeah.
would take 2.
So I'm gonna go with Mr. Two Gloves because he's got great form.
I
Aaron
thought
Rye.
about it too.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go Tommy Fleetwood with my other pick.
Tommy lad.
There you go.
I don't really know where to go with my next pick.
Yes, neither do I. Now I'm kind of stuck with my last pick. I got time before my next pick because you're gonna pick 7 more names before it's my turn.
I'm gonna go the glove. No, actually, no. I'm not gonna go the glove. I'm gonna go Patrick Rogers. Sorry,
Gotcha.
I got too excited there for a second.
Yeah, you got excited. Right?
I'm gonna go Fitzpatrick.
Fitzy.
Fitz magic.
What happened?
And-
The Fitz magic part.
You know what
is-
happened to him? He got married to a hot chick. That was what happened to him.
I
that's
don't wanna
pretty
jinx
much
it. I don't wanna
everybody's
jinx
problem,
it.
right? If you get married to a hot chick, that ruins everything, right?
Your golf game goes down.
Stop caring about your golf game. Yeah.
Yep.
And
You
then
want
let's go final pick. Let's go Tony Finau.
Like that pick a lot.
I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I'm still making a debate here. So, Jason, you got plenty of time here.
that. I don't know. I just think Tony at 7-1 is insane. I'm gonna go Justin Thomas as my last pick.
JT's week at the
I don't
Masters.
necessarily love that pick, but I love that pick in the 6th round of our draft.
I'm gonna go Denny McCarthy with my last
6th
pick.
round. Nice.
Denny with my last pick. Locked. I got 3 lineups made. I'm done for the week. I'm tapped out financially this
go.
week after blowing my entire bankroll for the Masters, as I do every year, which is
Get ready
crazy.
for
I don't think
WrestleMania.
I've ever turned a profitable Masters ever. Never, ever.
Back to the one and done.
Back to the one and done.
Since I am so bad at the one and done, and I'm the only one that has not used Patrick Cantlay, I'm going to be using Patrick Cantlay this week.
I was going to use
Oh,
Patrick
wow.
Cantlay, but I just checked my list and I already used
You
him,
already
so I
did,
can't.
yeah.
Yeah.
You both did already.
All right, you can think about that. I got to think about this because I don't even know who to use.
Oh, it's your pick, buddy boy. Oh no,
It doesn't
Is it
matter.
Steve's or yours?
I'm gonna go with
Problem is trying to read my handwriting to see who I picked.
I sent you a text earlier today.
Yeah, I didn't know that had
Yeah,
all the
I wanted
names on
yesterday.
there.
let's
How
go
dare you, Rashad, not get in the
with-
contest? Come on now. Get in.
I'm gonna go with Akshay.
Akshay
Akshay
Patel.
Patel.
Akshay. Looking at the names I've used and not used. Berger, I would have done, used him. Cantley, I would have done, used him. Damn. Shoot. I'm going to go Tommy Fleetwood this week.
Tommy lad.
That's how you know Cantlay's not going to complete the story.
No,
Because
but
Phil couldn't pick him as one and done.
he's got a T4 written all over him.
Yeah, he does. Fleetwood's going to be T4 this week as well. Real quick, there's a second event this week, the Corrales Punta Cana Championship. Anybody done any work? Because I got 2 outright bets for the Punta Cana as well. Harry Hall 20-1, taking the money I had, put on Ben Griffin who withdrew. I had him 18-1, but we'll switch it to Harry Hall and Chandler Phillips 60-1, who's done wonderful in resort courses this year. 60-1, just so you guys know.
That's
if you wanna
crazy.
play
He's 60-1. Chandler Phillips is actually a good golfer.
and I saw 60. I did no research. I just went to see the odds. I was going up and down the board, and I'm like, Chandler Phillips. Hold on a second. 60-1. Place that bet right away. So I did that. So again, I have Cantlay as an outright this week. A huge bet on Cantlay at 20-1. I got Berger at 50-1 this week. I got Fleets at 32.5-1. Harris English at 80-1. Davis Thompson at 75-1. And Lucas Glover at 90-1. And I also, on top of my 75-1 Davis Thompson, I also bet him first round leader because I had a free bet. So I threw my free bet on Davis Thompson first round leader. So he'll finish in second place after the first round, just so you guys know.
Got to make that money back from.
Got to. I dropped like 8% of my ROI last week. So, it happens. Steven, what do you got bet wise this week?
I got an Oberg 12-1, Lowry 25-1, Hovland 30-1, Akshay 65-1, Aaron Rye 65-1, and Fitzpatrick 75-1. And then I got a fun Oberg to win, Xander top 5, and Campbell top 20. It's plus 18,347.
$1 pays off your mortgage.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Yep.
Oh, man. I love those kind of plays. But you're really high on Brian Campbell this week. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Right? Use some of this Rory winnings. Using some of this Rory winnings.
Jason, what do you got on your card this week?
I have Xander 11-1, Cantlay 20-1, Straka 45-1, Poston 70-1, and Thigala 80-1. I think I might also add Harmon 80-1 also, but I have not.
I do like the Harmon 80-1 idea too. So yeah, that's good. Anything else you guys got to add? Any final thoughts on the Masters? This is the place to put it because other than that, we are moving on from the Masters after this.
I think Liv has to start doing signature events, because how great would it be now if you got 4 more rounds, no cut, of Bryson coming out, Brooks, Cam Smith, so then we don't have to be like, oh, well, yeah, look at Cam Smith, look at Koepka. They don't have it anymore. They don't really care. If they can come out and play 4 rounds of golf on weeks like this, I think it'll be great for the game. I think it'll build that rivalry. And, the Charles Schwab, forget about those weeks. Let them go do their 3 rounds wherever they're at, Hong Kong or Miami, and have fun with it. But we need more of that competition because you can't tell me that people were disappointed that Bryson didn't step up to the plate. They want that. So I think that's one way that you can give the casual fan another week of, oh, wow, I get Bryson next week too. Okay, cool. Count me in. So I think that's one thing that they need to look into.
I'm looking at the official world golf rankings right now, and I know the Masters is top 50 to get into it. And I know Patrick Reed, being a former champion, gets in no matter what. He's sitting at 49 right now. There's no other live guys in the top 50 official golf rankings anymore. Oh, there's got to be John Rahm's got to be in there still.
Bryson.
I know he's in it no matter what because he's. I'm looking at the world rankings or the FedEx Cup points here. This is the world rankings. I would have thought more. I would have thought some other live guys would still been in the top. Bryson's at 19 or 11th in the world rankings. So, okay, I just have to slow down my paging here. I'm moving too quick. Hatton is still 18th. I'm just thinking about big picture with the rest of the majors coming out. Who are we going to stop seeing in majors sooner rather than later? Patrick Reed won't be in any other majors outside the Masters going forward, probably.
You know who looks like they don't give a shit anymore is DJ. Like he just looks.
Yeah, Dustin Johnson. Yeah, he doesn't.
He just doesn't care anymore.
He really does not look like he cares at all. You really got to find a way to get these guys some world golf ranking points so that we could see them at least 4 times a year, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to see much anymore. It's Max Homa, who I just looked. He's fallen all the way down to 67 or no 81 in the world golf ranking. Wow.
Everyone, be cautious with Max Homa this week too. If you get excited about playing him here, he gained 5 strokes putting last week. He's
not going to do that.
It's misleading.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up this for the week, guys. Basically a fantastic last 8 days of Fairway to Heaven between last week's show, the Sunday live stream, and then this show. So thank you all very much for tuning in. Please hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. We'll be back next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week because it's the worst event of the year. We'll see what we do. Patrick Reed actually plays worldwide events for points. He does occasionally get into some worldwide events. Yes, I do know that. Very few of the live guys do that. And they probably should do that a little bit more frequently to keep those points coming. But they don't for some reason. We'll see what happens with it because I do eventually think that it'll all be worked out. But everybody have a great day. Thank you all for tuning in, Joe, Rashad, K1, everybody with the comments today. We'll be back next week with some kind of an episode talking the tag team championship world side job for you guys, Jason, Steven, for next week's episode. All right. You got to come up with on top of we'll talk the tag team golf. You got to give me who your favorite tag team champions in wrestling of all time. Give me your favorite tag teams of all time.
I can tell you that.
Oh, you didn't know? What?
Yeah, I could tell you that right now.
I know.
I'll
I
write it
could
down.
too.
I'll lock
We're
it in.
saving that for tomorrow. We're saving that
Lock
for
it
next
in.
week, guys. Saving it for next week. Everybody have a great Tuesday night. We'll see you guys next week, and I will see you guys right here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for Trending in the AM. Guys, have a great night. And bubbles up.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, pop, pop.